You're listening to Drummer Daily, the only daily podcast dedicated just to drummers, for a free video series explaining how you can become rock solid at playing drums with a click track in just 2 weeks in as little as 20 minutes per day. Visit boomclick.net. Hello again, welcome back. I'm so happy you're here. The weather here in Nashville is slightly warmer than it has been for a while. If you've listened to any previous episodes, you know that I've been complaining about the cold outside and how cold it is inside. Right now, the heat is not running for at least a moment. The sun is out. I am pressed up against our sliding glass door, trying to catch the sun like a cat, not wanting to move. I'm watching a squirrel eat at the old pumpkin. We have a compost pile in the back of our yard, and we put the Halloween pumpkins back there broken up, and I'm watching a squirrel try to eat a piece of pumpkin that is way too large for it. But hey, you know what's funny? And I promise you I didn't plan this, but that squirrel trying to eat that pumpkin that's way too big for it actually relates to what I want to talk to you about today. Man, I'm so proud of myself for even making this connection. Man, all right. Way to go, me. All right, so what I want to talk to you today about is expectations and what aspirations and dreams for what kind of drummers we want to be. And to equate that back to this squirrel that I see eating this pumpkin, I'm watching this squirrel munch on a piece of pumpkin that might be at least twice the size of its entire body. Maybe more than that, but it's a very large, relatively speaking, chunk of a pumpkin that this squirrel is trying to eat. Now, you and I looking at that would say, there is no way that squirrel is going to eat all of that pumpkin, but he's still trying. But here's the thing, I guarantee that when that squirrel decides to, call it off and stop eating pumpkin, that it will be very full and more satisfied than he could probably imagine from eating that. Of course, I'm actually making a lot of this up as far as what he thinks. I don't know if squirrels think or what. I don't know. Let's not get in that discussion about whether animals or whatever. Anyway, but that squirrel is going to be very satisfied. He probably will go find his little squirrel hut, nest. My wife is going to kill me. She's an animal lover. She probably knows exactly what squirrels use as homes, but I don't. So he's probably going to go find his little squirrel hut or whatever and just fall asleep, pass out, because he's so full. It's like a big Thanksgiving meal for him, and he's so satisfied. But the funny thing is this. He actually didn't eat that whole pumpkin. He tried to, but he didn't. But he is so satisfied. He probably has more food stuffed into his little cheeks and into his little squirrel belly than he imagined this morning when he woke up that he would actually ever eat. So he is more than satisfied. But here's the thing. If you had asked that squirrel when he woke up this morning, hey, what would you like to eat or today? He probably would have said, I just hope that I find a couple of nuts or something, or acorns, whatever squirrels eat, just enough to get by, maybe steal some bird seed out of the bird feeder. If I could just get by and just survive, I would be happy. I'd be okay. And then you'd see that little squirrel leave his squirrel hut. We're going to stick with squirrel hut for now. Leave his little squirrel hut and go on his little squirrel way. And if he is looking around for nothing but acorns or little tree nuts or whatever, or maybe some bird seed or whatever, he just has his eyes down the whole time looking around, and he may or may not find what he's looking for. He might find a couple of those things, but he might not. And at the end of the day, let's say he finds half of what he's looking for, then he won't be satisfied. He won't be fulfilled. He won't have enough to eat, and he'll go to bed and be kind of bummed that today didn't work out the way he wanted. But so that squirrel got half of what he wanted, and that's fine, just not great. All right, so let's say the next day Squirrel wakes up and he's had a change of heart. And this morning he wakes up and he is like, hey, what I want to eat today, I want to find the world's largest pumpkin. I just want to eat pumpkin. I want to find a massive pumpkin. I want something huge. I want to eat an entire watermelon. I want just massive thing. I want to eat something really huge. And he's like, I'm gonna look for that kind of stuff too. I'm not gonna just look for little nuts on the ground or whatever. I'm gonna look for something massive, something insane. And he walks around from his little squirrel hut, and then he looks around and keeps his head up. And by keeping his head up, he's able to see that, hey, even though yesterday he had his head down, there actually was a pumpkin, a lot of pumpkin right by where he was, but he didn't see it because he had his head down looking for something smaller. He wasn't aiming high enough. He wasn't keeping his head up and looking for larger things. And now that he has his head up, he's seeing these massive pumpkins. And he's like, I can't believe it. There's a massive pumpkin right in front of me. I'm going to eat this whole thing just like I thought I would. And then he gets over to the pumpkin and starts eating it, and he gets about halfway through, and he just can't take anymore. He has more than enough. He's so overstuffed, and he goes back, like I said, to his little squirrel hut, and he passes out because he's so full, and he just sleeps, and he's so satisfied. But he thinks back on his day when he wakes up, let's say later, and he's like, man, you know what? I really wanted a whole pumpkin. And you know what? I got to the whole pumpkin, and I couldn't successfully eat that whole pumpkin. So I really only got a half pumpkin. Well, do you think that squirrel is going to be mad about how his day went? No, of course he's not going to be mad about how his day went, because he still got way more than he actually needed, way more than he could have wanted, and he had all that he could handle. Well, I want to kind of equate that back to drumming. Or your aspirations as a drummer, whether it's a career as a drummer or just how good of a drummer you want to be or where you'd like to be with your playing. We oftentimes set our goals or dream about what we want to do as drummers. And we think, I used to think, man, if I could just make a living playing drums in some way, I'd be happy. And that was my mentality. I was setting my goal for just being sad, just being okay. My goal was to be okay. And what I learned was that I was always falling about halfway short of that goal. And what happened was, halfway short of just being okay is not okay. It's not fulfilled. And the same thing as a drummer. I thought, man, if I could just be an okay drummer, I'll be fine. Well, what happened was I was falling short of being an okay drummer. And if you're falling short of being an okay drummer, you're not really being that great of a drummer. So it wasn't until my mentality shift, and I actually decided, you know what? I think with a lot of practice and a lot of work, maybe I would like to be the world's greatest drummer, the best drummer in the world. I want to be able to play hip hop with a single kick drum, and I want to play speed metal with 4 kick drums and 32 toms, and play 30-second note triplets with my feet in my hands at the same time, alternating, where they come out as 64th notes. And, I want to do this and that. And, it wasn't until I expanded my dreams and my desires for myself as a drummer to something just insanely huge that I actually started to find opportunities and be satisfied and fulfilled with my playing. I was falling way short of that dream that I had as far as what I'd like to be. But I was not unsatisfied by where I was, because what I was achieving and what I was able to unlock in my own playing was still just like I said, like that squirrel eating that pumpkin that he couldn't quite finish, was way more than I needed to be satisfied. It was way more than I needed to be fulfilled. And at the end of every day as a drummer, when I laid my head down at night, I was proud of what I had done as a drummer. I was proud of where I was as a drummer, and I was motivated to keep going and become better and better. I thought, man, if I'm where I'm at right now, and I know there's so much room to improve still, how much better can I get tomorrow? And so I want to encourage you to maybe expand your desires for your playing, your desires, if you have aspirations to have a career as a drummer, expand those horizons. And I'm not saying this is some kind of weird, kooky, like put it out there and it magically appears for you kind of thing. And I'm not also saying that you need to expect to be disappointed. But what I'm saying is, I think we all don't expect enough of ourselves. I think if we have aspirations that are 10 times as big as what what we currently have. We can expand our dreams by 10 times, expand our hopes by 10 times, expand what we expect of ourselves by 10 times. And there's actually a book called the 10X Rule that kind of inspired this for me, by the way. But all that aside, if we can expand what we want by that much as drummers, just think about, even if we fall halfway short of that, if we only get halfway there, we're still 5 times better as drummers than we were, and than we were okay with being just a few minutes ago. If we can just start working towards being that much better. So I hope this encourages you today. Let's go out there and let's expand what we expect of ourselves as drummers. Let's expand the room for improvement that we see within our own playing, and let's expand what's possible for us in our careers and our playing as drummers. All right, talk to you again soon.